Alright guys, so today I've got a pretty interesting video and topic to discuss with you all, and I'm sure this is going to get a lot of you guys talking within the comment section. Feel free to put any penny for your thoughts down below in that comments box and let's get a discussion going. But I was on Twitter last night and fellow YouTuber MJPW Gaming noticed that on Twitter, the voice actress for Misty in Black Ops 2 Zombies has recently added the hashtag Misty into her bio. The actress's name is Stephanie Lemelin, and you can see her on Twitter at SteffiLems, and her bio says, just your typical animated mum of three with a head full of characters you may have heard, hashtag Artemis, hashtag Eep, hashtag Misty, hashtag Stormblade, and more. You might not think this is worth talking about whatsoever, but it's only very recently that she's updated her bio to actually show Misty's name. And we're talking incredibly recent. Around about a month or two ago, her bio read as this: just your typical animated mum of three, chock full of characters, mostly here for the retweets since I'm usually a day behind when it comes to this real world SHIT. Now, the character Misty in the Black Ops series has not been a relevant character since 2013 when we last saw her in Buried. So that was the last time that she'd be physically at Treyarch or wherever studios they use to record the voice lines for her character, and for the last 5 years now almost, it's fair to say that Misty is not really a relevant character that's been spoken about right now. With the reveal of Black Ops 4 only a month away now, it seems very strange timing for her to update her bio and include a character that she's not played for the last 5 years and include it as like part of the very relevant and important characters that she voices right now. If those characters are characters she voices right now, then that means Misty is relevant or is about to be relevant. That could only mean that Misty is involved within Black Ops 4 Zombies somehow. Now, by no means is this a confirmation of any kind. There could be a very simple reason for why she's added Misty into her bio recently, and that could be, out of all the voice acting she's done over the past few years, Misty is one of those which has stood out the most in terms of what roles she's played and what have been the biggest impacting roles in her voice acting career. Perhaps she just wants to clarify that she is indeed the voice actress that played Misty, but it seems like that was such a long time ago in terms of all the different things she's voiced in, that to put that down is very intriguing, and in my opinion leans more in the favor that we will see Misty in Black Ops 4 than the chance that we won't. And if we see Misty, then it goes hand in hand that we might actually see the rest of the transit crew within Black Ops 4. Now, I made a video back in August when we got the last Call of Duty Zombies comic, as that contained the finale to the Victor's crew's story and how things have been left off with them, and that they are trapped, frozen on ice under a secret lab in Alcatraz in Dimension 63, the dimension that actually gets destroyed within the timeline. In April 26, 1944, the Apothicons destroy Dimension 63. So when this takes place within the comics and our characters are placed on ice in Dimension 63, this obviously takes place at a time before Dimension 63 is destroyed. This is really confusing because in this dimension, at this very point in time where the Victor's crew are put on ice in this Alcatraz lab, this is where Richtofen returns to the lab where he meets Victus arriving from the NT-Earth with the Chronorium. This alternate version of Richtofen reads the Chronorium and discovers numerous timelines documenting his own fate and learns about the blood vials. He then enters a rift to acquire the blood of Sal and Finn, and after delivering the blood to his younger self in Origins and recovering the blood vials belonging to Victus, he then returns and he places them on ice until they are needed next. That's also when the Primus crew from Zetsubo no Shima teleport in to collect the Victor's blood samples from the other version of Richtofen. What's confusing is the way that we play the maps in Black Ops 3 and the order that we play them in doesn't necessarily correlate with the order in which they actually happen, because Shadows of Evil is the first thing that we see, but actually Shadows of Evil is destroyed as soon as Richtofen collects a summoning key from that dimension, and Alcatraz and the Victor's crew exist in that dimension. So it's clear that the Victor's crew at the time in the storyline are in the Dimension 63 before the events of Shadows of Evil and all that stuff happening, but yet Richtofen and crew have the summoning key. So it's all pretty confusing. And that version of Richtofen explains that the devices they're in are suspension devices and they'll keep you in a kind of stasis until the final world arrives. Now, when I first read this back in August last year, it didn't really make sense to me, and it still doesn't, but it's quite obvious that the comics are sort sort of setting up the storyline to follow with Black Ops 4. It's quite clear that with the release of the timeline, it's an indication that Treyarch are, in a way, sort of finished with that story arc and want to start a brand new one. But there's ciphers within Revelations a ton unsolved, but the very few that are solved seem like they want to get their own back on Dr. Monty, and with Richtofen's wording makes it sound like that they're trying to close every single dimension that exists. Looking at all of that, and then all of us pretty much assuming that Mob of the Dead is going to return in Black Ops 4 as like the, you know, bonus zombies map that we had, just like the Giant, it only makes sense to play as the transit crew as on the Mob of the Dead map. To play as a Mob of the Dead crew, it literally makes no sense. This is in the timeline happening before the actual events of Mob of the Dead even take place, so the prisoners wouldn't be there. It just doesn't make sense in the overall story arc for them to get involved. But for Jason Blundell to set up this entire backstory and essentially salvage and save what was the Black Ops 2 characters and made them to be a lot more in-depth, a lot more enjoyable, and a lot more important overall, it does make sense that we might see the transit crew back again. And even in my video that I made back in August talking about it, there's a page in the comic which shows the entire transit crew as children within the house. So whatever happens in Black Ops 4, we're gonna see the fate of the transit crew at the bare minimum, because in one reality in the Chronorium, you can see that their souls were taken in the summoning key and they were born again as children, innocent children within the house in the perfect world. That's something that happened with our premise crew, but obviously we got sent to a different dimension which starts the entire cycle all over again. But there is a reality that exists where our crew are innocent children. We did indeed save them. The transit crew are the last remaining people that should not exist in this dimension because they don't belong in it, but it's their blood which is keeping them from fading out of existence. So obviously they are just as important in this now as the premise characters were in BO3. From a storyline perspective overview, it makes absolute sense for the transit crew to be part of Black Ops 4. Back in August, I said I couldn't imagine us actually playing as a transit characters, but it actually does make a lot more sense if they're playable at least within Mob of the Dead. I don't expect them to be playable throughout the entire season because it's quite obvious that these characters were not the most popular and loved throughout the Black Ops 2 saga of zombies. I think it would be actually quite refreshing if we had a completely different crew. Obviously, I don't feel the storyline is ever going to be completely separated from what we've had for the last 10 years. It's always going to be involved in some way, shape or form, but I think the transit crew may actually see the light of day within Black Ops 4, and we should at least physically see them in Mob of the Dead. But with the idea of this hashtag Misty within the voice actor's bio, it actually might allude to her being a playable character along with the other transit characters. But of course, we have literally no evidence to prove that the transit characters are actually going to be in Black Ops 4 apart from this Twitter bio. And I did mention at the start, there could be a multitude of other reasons why she put this in her bio. But overviewing everything, it makes sense to me that the transit crew will at least see the light of day at some point within Black Ops 4. But I want to know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Would you like to see the transit crew back within Black Ops 4? Would you like to play as them? And for all my male viewers watching this video, don't get too excited, okay? I know some of you guys out there want to see that 4K Misty textures. JC Backfire, I'm looking at you on this one. Just calm your ditties for a minute. If you enjoyed the video, let me know. Drop a thumbs up on the video, I'd appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss any future zombie videos from me, and I'll catch you on another one very, very soon.